The Book of Fron, Jreff, and Crib. Fron. Fron was a young green-skinned ginger Fraggo, doomed to become a miner like all of his forefathers, his peers, and his successors. Fron hated this prospect. He saw it as a dark future. Unlike most of his fellow Fraggos, Fron had always clung to a teeny-tiny slice of hope. This little seed slowly grew throughout his life, eventually blossoming and saving him from falling into the same pit everyone he knew fell in. His hope was strange, and his people frowned upon it. Fron encountered resistance and even outright hostility each time he suggested his ambitions to avoid the normal path Fraggo men took. He felt as if it didn't have to be that way. Everyone around him told him he was supposed to conform, but Fron never gave in, defying all expectations. One day he was sitting in his cave room, reading a book he found in his grandfather's old cave. This book describes the adventures of an explorer who saw parts of the world our Fron simply assumed didn't exist. However, to his surprise, he found out the places described actually did exist. As he was reading, his mother saw the book cover and started yelling at him. His dad heard the fuss from the corridor, showed up shortly after, looking skinny and drained after a long day at work. He asked his wife to leave them alone a second. Fron, you're not like most Fraggos. As you've said many times, I had trouble accepting you wouldn't follow in our footsteps, and maybe I still don't accept it entirely. But perhaps you should go out there and find the places mentioned in your book. When I was a little boy, my old man would read these tales to me before bed. He was fascinated by the outer world. I guess he was trying to instill some curiosity in my heart, and I'd be lying if I told you it didn't work. But as everybody, I succumbed to the pressure. Maybe it'd be good if you succeeded where I failed. Our life is miserable here, but your stubbornness, nay, your hope, might be the key to getting out of here. I don't want you to become like me or other hopeless Fraggos, so if you truly want to, you have my permission to leave these mountains. Not many Fraggos I've met have your temper, and for this exact reason, you may be destined for greater things. It might do you some good to venture out there, under the sun, but don't tell your mother yet. We'll have to keep this between us for now, lest others should panic because of your departure. It would be more prudent to be stealthy, if leaving is what you truly desire. So with the help of his father, Fron got ready to leave. Preparations took a couple of days, but eventually the hour came. Right before dawn, the two men stepped out of one of the main cave entrances. Fron was nervous and excited, while his dad's face revealed little. "Dad, will you go with me?" asked the young man. "No, Fron. This is your journey," answered his father after a bit. "I'll miss you, but I'm gonna stay behind. I trust you'll do well. If I were you, I'd head to the sacred cave in the land of Wilsiths. May we see each other again, eventually. I love you very much." After saying goodbye and hugging his dad, Fron left with a bag full of supplies, some food, some golden coins, and the book he had been studying, with maps and depictions of special Verith landmarks. Fron had departed from his cold and sad cave, only to find himself colder and sadder than ever before. As he descended the rapid slope of the Fragofractish mountain, he soon realized how long the journey would be. Even if he changed his mind and turned back, either dropping temperatures or embarrassment would have killed him. Thus, Fron headed forward, blinded by the slow rise of the sun and its reflection on the snow. Without taking any breaks, he trudged along at a cautious and steady pace. Not being used to sunlight exposure, Fron was both in awe and in pain at the sight of this intense circular light at the horizon. As he went down, the sun went up. From a point of freezing cold temperatures above, he was now sweating profusely. He started feeling so much discomfort that he took all of his clothes off, but the sun rays shone on his bare skin now, only worsening the problem. Poor Fron had not anticipated this terrible agony. And then a miracle. A tree. He had gotten low enough where vegetation grew. Immediately he took refuge, resting under the cool shadow of that strange green pole. Ashamed of his nakedness, he made haste to gather his scattered items and put on the bare essentials, airing out the rest of his drenched clothes. Under his newfound shelter, he whispered a prayer, and by the time he had caught his breath, he noticed a series of other trees as well. All he had to do, he realized, was sprint from the shade of one tree to the next, until eventually he'd be low enough to find the dense forest at the feet of the mountain. This is exactly what he did. Fron started sprinting from tree to tree, hiding from the sun's stinging rays. Although he slipped and fell a few times, he managed to get all the way down, and the scene he witnessed was unlike anything he had ever seen before. While his book spake of many interesting places, the smells, flavors, colors, sounds, and sensations were unlike anything he'd ever experienced in his life. Inside the caves, he couldn't have even imagined such stimulation and intensity. It was like a new birth. Fron found himself in a dark green misty forest, breathing in that wonderful air and feeling euphoric. He then noticed a small pond nearby. Hoping to cool off his sore feet in the water, he went to check it out. The pond was a nice little basin. He dipped a foot in and then another. As he sat, admiring the scene around, a group of friendly frogs on the shore slowly approached him with a curious look in their eyes. He found these creatures absolutely adorable. Afterwards, he turned his head towards the waters again, and at a distance, he noticed that a log, or so he thought, was slowly floating on the surface towards him. As it slowly approached him, it dawned on him that there was little to no wind, and he remembered that the trees he had seen hitherto usually stood upright. Suddenly, the log came to life and tried to bite him. Fron and the frogs leaped backwards terrified. Fron stood up, face to face with a menacing crocodile right in front of him, ready to snap. The massive croc wasted no time and jumped for his prey. The two of them started wrestling each other, turning and twisting in the mud. Fron was grappling and fighting to no avail, until a second miracle occurred that day. A mysterious man managed to get that great lizard off Fron, tying a rope around its mouth, and then sitting on its back. In shock and disbelief, Fron opened his teary eyes, thinking the creator had taken him home. He saw a Frigo with a lightning bolt-shaped scar under his right eye, wearing black sunglasses and a brown hat over his bright orange hair. Jreff. "Trying to cuddle with one of these?" asked the mysterious savior. "Man, glad I was here to help." Fron looked at him perplexed. "Hey, don't worry," said the chill stranger. "You're safe now. I'm sure you could have beat him eventually. My name's Jreff, by the way. Friends call me JR. Fron stuttered and shakily uttered a couple words. I'm Fron. "Thanks, man. You saved my life." "Ah, no biggie. Don't sweat it. It's my job to tie these bad boys up." "Say, where are you from? I haven't seen the likes of you around here, or have I?" "I'm from the mountains." "What? No way. No wonder you're so pale. Well, anyways, I'm a ranger around here, mainly hunting for reptiles and other brutes." "How come you're here and not in your caves? Why in the world would a miner come to a place like this?" "I'm not a miner." "Oh, okay. Well, regardless, I reckon you ought to get cleaned up. Come on, man. I'll get you to my family's house. They got warm food, an extra bed, and lots of hospitality. You really shouldn't be wandering off alone out here. Didn't they tell you this up there?" Jreff loaded the crocodile up on a small wooden wagon. Fron was in awe as he approached a beautiful white four-legged creature standing in front of it. Composed and elegant, gentle yet strong. "No way. Is this a horse?" asked Fron. "You bet. Ain't she a beaut?" "I've never seen one before. Her name's Maga. You'll see many more where we're headed. Come on, get on. Sun seems to be setting earlier and earlier around these parts. Not that you'd mind, I reckon, being so pale and all, but strange creatures have been lurking around here lately, more than usual." As Jreff steered, Fron sat behind him, next to the tied-up crocodile. He dared not touch it. Rather, he looked around, admiring the greenery of those dark woods. There were so many trees, the sunlight barely tickled its delicate face. After a quiet and long ride, they had finally reached civilization, the humble village of Kentfry. Fron noticed a bunch of wooden shacks, horses, lots of brown mud, thick white fog, and, most notably, the slimy shores of a lake. He asked Jreff, "Hey, JR, what lake is this on the left?" "Oh, that's Lake Greff over there, the second biggest lake around here," answered Jreff confidently. "Wait, you mean there's a bigger one?" asked Fron in disbelief. "Of course. Didn't they teach you this? Albongo is almost twice its size. I got some relatives over there too, but I like these parts more. My parents named me after it. Well, sorta." They took a detour to ride on a bumpity dirt road through tall trees. It started to rain as the evening approached. Finally, Jreff's family home was in sight on the banks of a small lake surrounded by a dense forest all around. The lake had a cute little island in the middle of it. "Well, we made it, safe and sound," said Jreff with a sigh of relief. "I hope that didn't feel too long." "No, not at all. Wow, this place is amazing. Home sweet home. I'm gonna forewarn you though, my family's ginormous. I don't know how you guys do it up there in the mountains, but we like to feast a lot over here. We got my pops, my moms, my grandpas, my grandmoms, my aunties, my uncles, my cousins, my sisters, my brothers, my nieces, my nephew. Yeah. Don't worry about it," said Fron, interrupting Jreff. "It's great. Thanks again for all your help. Hey, don't even mention it. It was my duty back there, as it is now." As the two unloaded, Jreff's mom came out of the front door on the porch. "Oh, my sweet boy. How'd hunting go today? I see you caught a couple of new friends. How's it going, young man? I'm Fina. What's her name? Hello, ma'am. I'm Fron, waved the young Frego. Jreff was dealing with the croc in the rain as he told his mom. Fron's from the mines, Ma. I thought he'd appreciate some food and a good night's sleep after his journey. Wow, really? You came all the way from the mountains? Well, of course you can stay. We'll get you settled in immediately. You boys best get inside before it gets any darker and rainier. Fron, you look pale, skinny, and filthy. No offense, but as a mother, I cannot allow this. Come on in now. Get inside. I'll prepare a bath for you and some fresh towels. Oh, and Jreffy, don't you dare walk in here with those boots of yours. Please, put that crocodile somewhere I won't see it. Fron walked in and saw unprecedented chaos in the house. Orange, warm, crowded and festive. He'd only been used to his quiet gray caves. Children were running and playing, adults were eating and chatting, youngsters were joking and laughing. Jreff's mom told him, "Welcome to the lake. Nothing fancy, but there's lots of love here." The mom stopped her daughter as she walked by. She instructed them, "Freema, show this gentleman his room. Fron, I'll heat up your water." "Yes, Mom," said Freema. Fron could barely speak to his new crush, but he played it cool. He left his backpack in the room and went to take a warm bath. No crocodiles in sight this time. He dried himself up and went back to his room. It was much better than his old bedroom. He lied on his comfy bed, feeling grateful as he looked up to the ceiling, recalling his day. He started reading his grandpa's book as he laid down. The peace and quiet was suddenly interrupted by a ringing bell and Jreff's mom shouting, "Supper's ready! Last to come cleans everything up!" Fron stood up and opened the door. He stepped out of his room and a swarm of blazing kids raced to the dining room table. Fron finally saw his new friend again in the hallway, who put his arm around his shoulders. They walked together slowly, catching up with each other as if they were old acquaintances. Fron sat between Freema and Jreff at a long table covered in delicious food. The entire family was there, but one spot remained empty at the head of the table. "Hey, Ma, I guess Daddy's gonna clean up the dishes tonight," said one of the children. His worried mom reprimanded him. "Hush, Garf. Where in the world is your father? It's getting dark out there. He was supposed to get back home hours ago." As they ate together, some curious relatives inquired about Fron, surprised when they found out he came from the mountains. "Are the caves really like underground cities? Is it true you guys are rich? Is it true you're all miserable? What else do you all do besides mining and sleeping? Why'd you leave the mountains? You on the run?" are some of the questions they asked. Then suddenly, a man barged in loudly with a torch in his hand, drenched in water, yelling, "Gromers! Gromers are coming!" Panic ensued among female gasps and perplexed men asking, "What? That's impossible! Gromers haven't been here for centuries! Is he nuts?" The man assured them, "Boys, get them weapons! Honey, bring all the girls and children somewhere safe, away from the windows, now!" Everyone stood up in a frenzy. Jreff told Fron, "Stay close to me, man. Grab this." And he gave him a small dagger. The men of the house stepped out in the thundering storm, hearing loud footsteps approaching from the trees. The tall, chunky, violent, one-eyed, orange-skinned blonde Gromers were finally in sight. "How many are there?" "3!" One of the Gromers grabbed an older man, but Jreff skillfully managed to bring it down with a rope and a knot. Another Gromer was blinded by a rock shot by Jreff's little brother Garf with a slingshot. The last one standing was the fastest and most ferocious of the 3. His long, wet hair danced in the dark rain as he moved aggressively. The men tried stabbing its strong legs, but the Gromer would just flick them away with his feet. Fron himself ran up against the Gromer, only to find himself almost crushed under its huge foot, until Jreff's dad successfully shot an arrow in the beast's chest with a crossbow. The Gromer fell flat on its face. 3 huge cadavers now laid scattered outside the house. "What in the world was that?" said one of the young men. "We're in strange times," remarked another older man. "Perhaps the book could give us some answers." "Stop it with your superstitious nonsense, old man," said the younger one. "We need real answers. Uncle Affer, where'd they come from, huh?" Jeff's dad slowly caught his breath and calmly said, "We have no idea. We don't know how they came in. No Pels informed us about a border breach at the limit. I was with my colleagues when we spotted them from afar. I ran here as fast as I could." Among the confused whispers, a middle-aged man remarked, "Wow, we're going to have to dispose of these bodies. Else we're going to have a serious problem with lots of hungry gators." "I'd rather deal with them than Gromers," said Affer. "We have no idea how many there are. There could be more. Tonight, we get no sleep." We need patrols on every side of the house, just in case. Jreff suggested they turn the lights off as an extra precaution, to which his dad agreed. However, some of the guys there still murmured among themselves, saying, "This is outrageous. Have pals forsaken us?" Fear spread among the men as they lost faith in their bordering nation, worrying that armies of Gromers had finally been able to penetrate Limit's limit. Jeff's grandpa tried to spread some optimism, stating, "Our maker surely would never allow for us to get invaded. Have some faith." But a hot-headed nephew shut him down, angrily arguing, "Our maker's already forsaken us, just as he forsook the mountain Fregos. We could have died here today." "He's right. The creator's cursing us Fregos, just like he's cursed the Fregos," added another. One of them complained, "This attitude of yours is exactly what our maker didn't stop these monsters from reaching us in the first place. It's a punishment for our ingratitude." The men started bickering and even brawling in the wet mud. Lightning occasionally lit up the scene. Afra had had enough of it. "Enough!" he shouted. "All of you! Shut up! Listen up! I want 4 men on all sides. The remaining ones, switch the active guards every couple hours. No lights, no moving, no talking, no fighting. Jreff, go inform the ladies inside, please. Then come back out. I got some important things to tell you." Jreff signaled Fron to follow him in. He waited at the entrance as Jreff talked to his mom and some of the elder women there. He could hardly discern any of their concerned whispers. Then the two went back out to Jreff's dad. Afra hadn't even noticed his son's new friend, so he introduced himself. However, he thoroughly interrogated Fron. After many questions and answers on his who, what, why, when, and how, Afra felt relieved. "Sorry, Fron. Was just making sure. My son's also vouched for you, so I believe you. You must understand, however, that these are no ordinary times we're living in. I had to take this extra precaution before trusting you because, well, you see, this might sound crazy, but myself and other friends of mine have reasons to believe someone let these Gromers in, intentionally. We believe there are some among us Veriths who are not us, although they look like us, but they pretend to be us. Would you mind if I checked your hair real quick?" Fron was slightly confused, but he allowed it. As he felt Fron's hair, Afra said, "Okay, thank goodness. An honest Frego indeed. Listen up, boys. This is what's gonna happen. You two should leave at dawn to head towards Burloff. Our family there has many connections in Verithia. Jreff, I want you to deliver a message. You'll know the details once you get to Uncle Glorb's house. I'm entrusting you with this task. Fron, if you want to tag along and look out for my son, I'd be grateful. But if you want to go back home to your family, there's no shame in that." Fron eagerly told him, "Sir, I owe my life to your son." He turned to Jreff and said, "If you'll have me, I'll happily go with you. I've always wanted to see the rest of Verithia." Afra was thrilled. "Fabulous. Well, then it's settled. This is great, boys. Thank you. I'll stay back here to protect the house and try to figure out what in the world's going on. You best get some rest now. We got enough people guarding the place." The next morning, the sun was shining brighter than it had in a long time. "A good omen," said Jreff as he was eating his breakfast. Fron could hardly eat any food. He felt anxious to leave. Frima timidly asked him, "Fron, do you like your food? I could cook you something else if you'd like." Fron told her, "Oh, no thanks, don't worry. I'll eat later, maybe on the road." Frima asked him, "Weren't you afraid when you left your home? I'd be so frightened. You must have been so brave." One of her little brothers made fun of her, saying, "Oh, Fron, you're so brave. Kiss me now, please. Smoochy smooch me." Frima immediately turned red and stormed off. Shortly after, Afra came to him and whispered, "Psst, you got all your stuff? Great. Look after my boy, will you? He can be a little reckless at times. I think the two of you will make a good team. Watch out for each other's backs. I told Jreff the plan. He'll inform you on the way. He's waiting for you outside." Fron thanked Jreff's mom, Fina, for her warmth and her hospitality. He got his backpack and stepped out of the door. And so, Fron and Jreff left the vibrant house behind, looking forward to their journey. "Fron, you got some food?" asked Jreff. "Yeah. Man, I can't wait to see the rest of Verithia. Where will we go next?" "We're gonna stop at Kentfry briefly to get some supplies. Then we'll get on a boat to reach the other side." Fron's countenance suddenly changed as he heard these words. "Wait, you mean we're not going on land? Well, surely we'll go through the land of Pels, won't we?" asked Fron nervously. "What? That'd take us forever. Plus, you heard my dad. Pals might be compromised. You scared of the water or something? Oh, I've never been on a boat. Oh, well, don't worry. Look at this day. Not a cloud in sight. You got nothing to worry about, trust me. There's barely any waves today. Alright, I guess it'll be alright. Heck yeah. Then we'll see my uncle and his family. He'll give us some valuable guidance. He's important in these parts, even more than my dad. As he drove in the woods, Fron asked, Your dad's message, what did he mean by that? Honestly, I'm not too sure. He's been pretty secretive lately. I reckon he's a bit paranoid, to be honest. Anyways, he gave me an old copy of the book, said, JR, don't you dare unseal it until you get to your uncle's house. So yeah, I guess we ought to wait. I sure am curious, though. What do you say we take a peek later, huh? I don't think we should, frankly. Well, alright. We'll find out eventually, unless the suspense kills me. Fron didn't say anything else, but Jreff broke that awkward silence. You know, it's kind of weird that he trusted me with his copy. You guys believers upstairs? No, not really, answered Fron. I mean, yeah, many of us believe in the Maker, but most believe he's cursed us. I don't believe so, though. I believe in the Maker, but I believe that what Fraggle believers believe is making this belief about the cursed reality because they believe it to be so. Jreff looked awfully puzzled and murmured, I ain't really one for philosophy. The two young men reached a small town of Kentfry. Jreff parked his wagon next to a dock that led to a medium-sized boat. Alright, Fron, I'm gonna be right back. Want me to buy you anything specific? No, thanks, don't worry. Okie doke, wait right here. Fron sat patiently, observing the townsfolk. Frigos down here reminded him a whole lot of the Fragos that he was used to seeing above. But the former seemed happier, tanned, and far more outgoing. As he sat with his thoughts, reminiscing about his parents, he heard Jreff shouting from a distance, arguing with a merchant. You trying to rip me off? As Jreff approached the wagon angrily, Fron asked him, What's the matter? Don't worry. Some slimy salesman sold me a bunch of rotten apples with worms. Ugh. Whatever. Let's get Maga to the boat. We'll have to leave the wagon behind, unfortunately, but the captain will let the horse on. He owes my dad a favor. As the two approached the boat, an old man on deck saw Jreff and exclaimed, JR, my boy. How you doing, lad? Good, Cap? My dad told you we were coming, right? Yeah, of course. Told me about your quest yesterday evening in a Russian hush. Sounds fun. Well, don't just stand there. Get on, boys. How about the horse? Asked Jreff. Here, let me bring her up in front. It's super cozy, and it's a nice day today. Who's your friend you got over here? He's my new friend Fron, from the mines of Fracto. Wow. Well, nice to meet you, Fron from the mines. I used to have a buddy up there. Don't know what happened to him. Well, come on then. All aboard. Fron was standing on the dock, as shy as he could be, frozen with fear as he looked at the water. Jreff turned around and asked him softly, Hey, you alright, buddy? You don't gotta worry about nothing. Boat's sturdy, Captain Joff solid, sky's blue. I don't know how to swim, whispered Fron. Well, no biggie. We don't gotta swim. We'll be on the boat, safe and sound. The captain came down, holding something in his hand. He approached Fron and gave him a vest. Here, put this on. With this, you can float in water, even if you don't swim. He told him with a calm and reassuring smile. Fron timidly said, Thanks. So he put it on and gained the courage to step on the platform. He quickly got off the wooden plank and went to sit next to Maga the horse. With his back against the cabin wall, she affectionately put her head down on Fron's lap. Captain Joff yelled, Alrighty, boys, time to get going, and he blared the horns. The sun was approaching its zenith right above the boat. Jreff and Joff were gleefully talking, while Fron sat quietly. The water was calm, the sky was clear, and Fron finally felt at ease. Occasionally, he saw distant clouds and vessels, and all sorts of strange creatures swimming below and flying above. Then Captain Joff came out holding a bowl of soup. He handed it to Fron, and he also gave Maga a carrot and an apple, while Jreff took the wheel in the back. How you doing now, Fron? You two got real lucky today. It's beautiful out. I noticed you're in the shade a lot, so I got you this special soup. It's a typical dish that prevents sunburn. Don't ask me how, but it works. Thanks, replied Fron. Yeah, I'm not so used to the sun. How do you know this will work for me? Saw it with me own eyes. I had a Fraggle friend from the mines once when I was younger, about your age, pale as a ghost. So my mom made him this soup, and he stopped getting sunburned. He even got a bit of a tan. A calm lad. He didn't want to mind, but he eventually went back home. Interesting. Do you remember his name? Why, of course. Fod was his name. Fod? That's so weird. My dad's called Fon. Wait, really? Your mother, she happened to be someone named Fauna? Well, yeah. No way. Whoa, what an incredible coincidence. So, wait, you know my dad? I thought he never left the caves at all. Must be in your blood. That desire to see the world and all. I knew you looked familiar. Say, how's he doing? He's always working hard. Almost too hard. But he helped me leave the caves. Really? Fascinating. He used to talk fondly about exploring Verithia. Sometimes he'd also mention a girl, Fauna, your mother. Must have been love, hey? He was almost always reserved. But boy oh boy was he loyal and tough. I'm glad to know he's alive. He was a good man. Well, I best get inside now. We can talk some more about it later, if you would like. Just come in the cabin. Oh, and eat your soup in the meantime. Jreff stepped out on the deck a few minutes later. Yo, Joff told me about your dad. Amazing, said Jreff while Fron finished his soup. What are the chances? Yeah, I know, right? Anyway, I got good news. We're right on track. You enjoying your trip so far? Yeah, but there is one thing. I can't understand why my dad never told me he left the mines. Or why he'd go back. We all got our secrets, you know? Like, I didn't know my pops liked horses until recently. Yeah, but that's different. It's just, if he went back, maybe I will too. Well, do you want to go back? No, but, well, there you have it. Your old man must have had his reasons. But Fron, please, don't get all soppy on me now. Even Maga looks down. You're overthinking, bro. I guess you got a point. Yeah. Come on. Let's focus on the task at hand. You'll have a chance to ask your dad one day. But for now, I wouldn't worry too much about it. Jreff laid down and started playing a tune with a strange wooden device. Fron was amazed at the sound, and he gladly listened. Jreff asked, You know this one? It's a famous melody around these parts. Fron answered, confused. What's a melody? A malady? You know, a song. Music. Never heard anything like it. How'd you make all those sounds? I've never seen anyone do that before. Wait, you pulling my leg? This is a small flute. You blow in it, and depending on the holes you cover, certain notes come out. You guys really don't have music in the caves? No, I'm telling you, it's my first time hearing anything like this. Jreff was dumbfounded. Are you for real? You gotta be kidding me. You got no music? I guess not. We Frigos ain't the most musical bunch. Well, we got some musicians at least. I also know how to play guitar. I don't know why, but we don't have this stuff in the caves. Man, y'all are missing out big time. Might improve your mood to get some music going on up in there. Fron asked Jreff, JR, do you mind playing that again? It was really beautiful. Fron's new discovery left him in awe. He listened to those sounds, slowly drifting into a peaceful slumber as his head rested on Maga's body. Fron woke up in the middle of the afternoon. On his right, in front of him, Jreff was facing the water, holding a cane in his hand. Fron admired this scene with sleepy eyes. When Jreff perceived Fron was straightening up, he asked, Had a good nap? Didn't think my music would be putting you to sleep. And he chuckled. Fron inquired about his activity immediately. How come you're holding that stick? Bruh, I'm fishing. I'm guessing you cave dwellers don't do this either? Again, y'all are missing out big time. Here, come and try. Fron stood up and took a hold of the fishing rod. He asked a bunch of questions, and Jreff explained enthusiastically, until something grabbed a hold of the hook. Fron held his ground, patiently reeling in the mysterious sea creature. Captain Joff, intrigued, stepped out to witness the scene. Fron pulled up a bear-sized fish. Jreff skillfully took a net and grabbed what he called the bad boy. Joff clapped, leaped, and exclaimed, Boy, oh boy, you got us some real dinner there. Jreff turned around and asked, You sure you ain't never done this before? Never, he answered with a huge smile, twitching with adrenaline. Joff remarked, Aye, beginner's luck. Jreff effortlessly gutted and cleaned the fish. It was ready in a jiffy. The sky had turned orange, and the sun was soon to vanish beyond the watery horizon. Night crickets chirped, and water gently splashed against the boat. As they approached darkness, Joff lowered the anchor, lit up a couple of candles, and set the table in the main cubicle. All the while, Jreff proved his cooking and seasoning skills. Joff sat facing the front of the vessel, while Jreff sat on his right and Fron on his left. Fron was eager to taste his prey, despite its strange odor. The three didn't even finish saying grace, and Jreff had practically already finished the thing. Needless to say, Joff too barely hesitated to finish his meal. As he chewed, Jreff said, Fron, my man, you gotta try this. So he thought, here goes nothing, and he took his first bite. Suddenly, Fron cringed and ran out of the dimly lit cabin to hurl out his food in the water. Jreff looked out of the window with a bewildered expression, while Joff laughed with a stuffed mouth full of fish. Fron walked in with a disgusted look on his face. Jreff was visibly displeased. "Come on, man," he complained. "You caught a delicacy there. That ain't no way to treat your first catch." Fron replied, "A delicacy? Man, that was disgusting." Jreff looked mortally offended. Joff stepped in. All right, simmer down, boys. Come take a seat, me lad. We got lots to eat besides fish. Here, have some potatoes." Your reaction didn't surprise me, you know. As he sat back down, Fron asked him with an intrigued look, "What do you mean?" "Well, your dad also hated fish. Indeed, he had quite the aversion. Not unlike yourself, you know." "Aye, it must run in the family," he concluded with a smile. Fron said, "Captain, you seem to know my dad a whole lot better than I do." Joff assumed a more serious disposition, rotating his body towards Fron and asking him, "You mean he's never told you about any one of our tales together?" "He hasn't uttered a single word." "Well, I can't say I'm too surprised after all." "Why? Why? Why would he keep all these things secret while you're so plain about them?" Now, I'm sure your old man didn't mean you no harm. You should know that when I first met him, he was quite a quiet fellow, unlike his. Truth is, however, that he didn't come to Frigoland alone." There was complete silence until Joff said, "He left the mines with his twin brother." Fron explosively interrupted him, with surprise written all over his green face. "Wait, what? I don't believe it. All this time? A brother? My dad never told me anything about no brother, sir. No one's ever told me of this uncle. Why would he keep him secret?" Joff sighed again to then soberly answer him, "Because he died." Silence engulfed the whole cabin again after these chilling words. Joff lowered his gaze with nostalgic sadness, while Fron's frustration towards his father's secretiveness turned into compassionate understanding. Fron gently broke the gloomy quiet by saying, "Wow, I just didn't know." As a tear fell out of Joff's right eye, he asked, "You see now, son, why your dad never spoke about his brother? He loved him very dearly. Your uncle Fresco, or Frez, as we'd call him, was an outstanding guy. Sharp and funny, just brilliant. But one day, we went out fishing at sea and we had a boating accident during a frightening storm. It came out of bloody nowhere. And Frez fell overboard and, well, you know, he'd become a good friend of mine. And his passing, it broke my heart. I can only imagine how much more it devastated your father. He concealed his grief afterwards, but deep down, I noticed something was terribly off. One day, out of the blue, he vanished without an explanation. No goodbyes or anything, except a 4-letter note, which said, 'Going back home, thought.' I thought maybe he blamed me in his heart for everything. I really don't know." Jreff politely told Joff, "Cap, don't beat yourself up, alright? As my pop usually says, there's no reason to drink spilled milk and cry. Or something like that anyways. Come on, I'll play a tune and cheer us 3 up." As he sniffled, Joff smiled. "I reckon your old man's wisdom got to you." "Yeah, why not? Play us something good then, huh? Hold up, me boy, I'll join you." Jreff pulled out his flute, while Joff stood up to grab a hidden accordion. As Jreff's flute whistled, Joff pressed his instrument while singing a merry song. Fron admired this scene, almost as if he'd forgotten about the tragic story he just heard. Jreff gave Fron a drum, and Joff smiled as he instructed Fron, desperately trying to get him to follow the rhythm. Eventually, the young Frego got the hang of it, and joy erupted. "Hooray!" celebrated Joff. All 3 were laughing and dancing together, while complete darkness surrounded the vessel outside. After a while, they got tired and were satisfied by their meal and their musical performance, and so they headed off to bed, falling into deep sleep on the calm waters of Greff. The next day, Fron woke up on the wooden floor below his hammock. The young Frego stood up and took a peek outside of a small round window. The boat was moving fast and steady on the calm waters of Greff. On the other side of the room, Jreff was drooling and sleeping in his own hammock, with half of his body on the verge of dragging the other half out of the sack. He was still fast asleep until he fell out of his hammock. Fron turned around and burst out laughing. Jreff's sleep hormones kept him stuck to the floor in a most awkward position. He was slowly able to stand up with Fron's assistance. The two of them went up to greet Joff at his steering wheel. While holding up his pipe, he said, "Good morning, lads. We'll be docking soon enough. Jreff, your father bid me to be quick, so I stayed up last night. Got moving a couple hours to dawn. Glad y'all slept well." Jreff answered, "Thanks, Cap. Hey, got any breakfast? Don't know about you, but I'm rumbling down there." "Aye, help yourselves over in the kitchen. Hey, Fron, me boy, how'd you sleep? Hammocks ain't too comfy, but you get the hang of them. No pun intended. When I woke up, I was on the floor. I think I fell off. Same as your old man. Well, you better get some nutrition then. I reckon yesterday evening's fish didn't fill you up at all." As Fron sat down next to Jreff to eat breakfast, he saw land on the distant horizon. Before he knew it, breakfast was over, and so was his boat ride. Captain Joff approached a wooden pier and tied a couple of thick ropes to stabilize his boat. "Well, boys, there you have it. It's been a real pleasure. Best of luck to the both of you." Fron took his floating vest off to hand it back to Joff, but he said, "No, Fron, keep it. It's yours now. You never know. It might come in handy, you know?" Fron smiled and said, "Thanks, Captain. I hope we'll meet again someday." "Aye, me too, boy. I believe we will. In case you see your old man, say hi to him for me, will ya? Hold on, I got something else for you." Fron, Jreff, and Maga stood on deck. Then Joff came out holding a simple hat with a clover sticking out of its side. "This belonged to your uncle. I don't know why, but I felt compelled to give it to you. It'll protect your eyes and shield your head from the sun's heat." Joff put the new gift on Fron's ginger hair, and it fit beautifully. "Perfect. Alrighty then. Off you go, lads. God be with you." So Fron and Jreff hugged Joff and continued on their journey across Verithia. Joff had left his passengers in Dullbock, a town of despair. The sins of drunkenness and idleness plagued what was once a vibrant location known for its trade and unique architecture. The buildings in this decadent fishing town deteriorated, and although maintaining their height, they did not retain their original splendor. Walking on a tight road among dark towers, Jreff complained, "This town's kinda sketchy and stinky." "And I thought the mines were bad," murmured Fron. The city wasn't empty, but it felt like a ghost town. Stains, trash, graffiti, and cracks polluted the roads and walls of the city. Fron noticed many of its inhabitants affectionately clinging to glass bottles filled with mysterious and colorful liquids. Jreff told Fron, "These people are a mess over here. They just sit around all day doing nothing, just drinking water and pissing wherever." However, Fron corrected his friend. "That's not water. We got a similar problem in the caves. A lot of the more depressed fragos start using it, and it usually spirals out of control for them. That stuff they drink turns them into idiots. It makes them violent, lazy, or clumsy, or sleepy, and many other bad things. It's not just water. All I know is that it sure smells funky." Having left that grim town, they found themselves on a dirt road, surrounded by marshy terrain and dark spooky trees all about. A thick mist only allowed them to see so far in all directions. Jreff, Maga, and Fron had been walking in eerie silence for a while, until they encountered a hooded person on the side of the road, standing next to a wooden cart on wheels.
"Greetings, young men. May I interest you fine travelers with a refreshing drink?"
Jreff turned around and quietly told Fron, "Man, I'm dying of thirst, and we're running out of water. What do you say?" Fron asked the stranger, Hello? Is this water?" The stranger said,
"Even better. This water will make you feel brave and relaxed. It will energize you and make you manly. What say ye? Want a taste?"
Jreff took a step closer, eager to try it out, but Fron immediately grabbed his arm to stop him and whispered, "Jreff, this is the same exact junk those townsfolk were ingesting. Can't you smell it? This substance ruined an entire city. Imagine how much more it destroy us." "Oh yeah, I guess you're right, Fron." Suddenly Jreff overthrew the cart, smashing many liquor bottles and yelling, "Get out of here, you slimy merchant! We ain't buying your poison!" The merchant was outraged.
"Oh, boy, my merchandise. Poison. This is pure quality. Quality. Oh, come on, fellers. Just a little taste. It'll feel so good,
he said as he grabbed Fron's arm. Hey, let go of me, you weirdo! And Fron accidentally hit the touchy man's head with his arm, KOing him to the ground. Jreff shouted, No way! Nice blow! You knocked his hair off too! I didn't mean to. Wait, he's bald! Jreff, we gotta go! You remember your dad checking my hair, right? Yeah? This is exactly what he was talking about. Come on, Maga, let's get out of here. It soon started raining. They picked up the pace, and after a while of walking, Jreff said, That guy in the swamps kind of reminded me of the vendor in Kentfry. You know, the one that almost scammed me with a bunch of spoiled fruit, you remember? Something was off about his skin. And come to think of it, there was some strange about his hair too. Fron replied, Your dad told us something about imposters the night after the Gromer Attack, remember? Well, yeah, but that's just crazy talk, ain't it? I mean, that's gotta be more a myth than anything. Back when I was a kid, I heard all sorts of stories. Some of them from the book, about these strange creatures, the Sintjays. But we all just assumed they didn't exist anymore. Maybe Pop's right after all. Maybe. I'm pretty sure we just saw a creepy man with a wig trying to intoxicate us. That fits the description, doesn't it? All I'm saying is, I think your dad's onto something. Yeah, it was real spooky. He talked weird too, all nasally and flattering. I don't remember much about Sintjays, but I recall they were amazing liars. How much I do remember. Anything else? Now that you mention it, yeah. I often heard that the Sintjays say they're Veriths, but they ain't. They're liars. Problem is, that could be any one of us. Could be indeed. We gotta stay on guard then. Roger that. You hear that, Maga? And Maga nodded. Fron, Jreff, and Maga continued down the wet dirt road after their bizarre encounter. Lo and behold, they had almost reached Jreff's uncle's house. I can feel it. I think I can even smell my aunt's cooking. You smell that, Fron? I only smell rainwater and dirt, but boy am I hungry. Say, Jreff, what's the plan once we see your extended family? How about after? Guess we'll hand my Uncle Glorb the book. Maybe my old man left an envelope or a note inside it. Some secret code, maybe. Or a fancy riddle. Then we'll just follow my uncle's advice. He'll surely guide us. After taking a turn on a trail among the dark and thick droopy trees, they finally spotted a huge cobblestone structure towering above the forest. We're here! Exclaimed Jreff with glistening eyes and a smile. As the duo approached the modest moat, a team of archers appeared, pointing arrows at them from a tall stone wall. One of them spoke up. Who goes there? Jreff stuttered in unbelief and answered, Cousin Gom? Is that you? Answer me! Identify yourselves at once, he replied harshly. It's me, Cousin Jreff. I have a message for Uncle Glorb from my father Affer. Jreff? Is that really you? Who else you got there? This is Fron, a friend from the Frago mines. Obviously, I brought my horse Maga with me as well. What's with all these precautions? Most impolite, I might add. It's pouring out here. Alright, let him in. A wooden platform was lowered over the water, and Jreff took a few steps towards the fortress. Yet a few guards, having hoods and their faces covered, grabbed a hold of them to frisk them and inspect their hair. The men then shouted, Clear! Jreff was starting to get worked up, and demanded an explanation. Now what in tarnation is going on here? Is this how you treat family? What kind of sick way of dealing with guests is? Jreff suddenly stopped speaking as soon as he saw his uncle walking towards him, ready to greet him. Jreff, come in, boys. Come quickly now. We have no time to waste. My servants will take care of Maga. As he walked in the building, Franz soaked in all the splendor around him, admiring the interior, while Jreff chatted with his relative. Fron was too enamored with his newfound location and architecture to even bother listening. Fron, are you paying attention? Whispered Jreff. Remember, we're guests here. Please, show some respect. While they walked down a long hall, Glorb spoke while rubbing his beard. So, how was the trip on the way here? Saw anything strange? Any anomalies? Jreff answered, just the usual. Dullbock looks terrible. The boat ride with Joff was cool though. Glorb insisted. Anything else? Fron intervened. A creepy merchant stopped us along the way here, trying to intoxicate us with a mysterious liquid. It is as I feared. This area is not safe anymore. Jreff asked, "What do you mean?" "My dear boy, hasn't my brother told you already? Gromers, Pels, Shiz, Sin, and this is... "Well, spit it out," said Jreff. The uncle slapped Jreff across the face and said, "Silence, boy! Are you so simple not to understand the times? Take heed lest ye forget my warning. The Sintjays are among us, lurking in the shadows, hidden in plain sight. They're among us. We face a peril so great, it is a terrifying thing to contemplate, let alone utter." Jreff said, "Uncle Glorb, forgive me. Y'all are freaking me out, though. Where's the music? The joy? What about the celebration for our arrival? And the food? A feast? Is that what you expected? Nay, my dear boy. Henceforth there shall be nothing but weeping and wailing, unless you came here to bring glad tidings. Tell me, boy, why did your father send you here?" Jreff whispered, "Uncle, are the Sintjays really in Verithia?" "Answer me question, boy." "Oh, yes. We do bring, well, not glad tidings, or maybe it's a message." Glorb looked at Jreff impatiently. "Well, spit it out, then." Jreff told him, "My father, your brother, entrusted us with an old copy of the book. Fron, hand it over, will you?" The young Frego took it out of a sealed leather pouch and gave it to Glorb. "Huh?" He opened it, looking through the pages, and said, "There's nothing in here. No letter, no message, no nothing. Not even a stinking envelope." Jreff was flabbergasted and said, But, Uncle, there must be a reason my father sent us here with it." As the uncle and his nephew bickered, Fron noticed a small detail that both of them had missed. "Look, this verse here is highlighted. In all thy ways acknowledge him, and he shall direct thy paths." Glorb grabbed it and said, "What is this supposed to mean?" "I am not qualified to interpret these religious matters. We must inquire from the pastor immediately." As he finished these words, a servant ran in. "Sir, the pastor. He was found dead." "What? Where? When?" "Some congregants found him lying in a pool of blood in the local church building, sir." From stress and furious, Glorb became catatonic and quiet. He sat down. "Sire?" asked the servant. "Yes, I understand. Dark times are upon us at last. I imagine the perpetrator has not been found?" "No, sire, not yet." "Ugh. Oh, I'm so sorry, boys, but I'm of no use to you, to Fregos, or to Verithia. I don't know what your father's trying to tell me." Fron intervened among the despair. "Excuse me, sir, there must be a reason for why he colored that one specific verse out of all the thousands he could have marked." Glorb had a sudden spark as he lifted his head towards the young Frego. "Why, yes, my brother was always a devout man, careful to detail. Moreover, the possible threat of a Sintjay infiltration made him even more fanatical and cautious. Yet while I and others believed he had gone off the deep end, all this time his intuition was spot on. Yes, after all, his faith in the book did not abase him. And now his predictions are coming to fruition, and his bookly wisdom is being vindicated. Let me see that verse one more time." He held up a monocle to his left eye and carefully analyzed that verse one more time. Then he shouted, "Aha! Not only is this a pious phrase, it is my brother's favorite verse. Naturally, my sibling knew my great memory would not fail me." With a visible look of frustration, Jreff said, "Uncle, how is that information of any use in deciphering whatever secret code my pops hid? Why do you have to waste our time like this?" "Jreff, can't you see? It is neither vain nor an obscure or complicated riddle at all. Your friend Fron is right. This is not a random verse. It symbolizes a memory. Your brother knew I wouldn't forget." "Forget what?" asked Jreff. "Well, our trip to Verithia, of course. Hasn't he ever mentioned it to you? Your old man told me this was his favorite verse in the sacred cave. It was a very mystical experience, unforgettable. So I reckon you two must also go to the cave next. The two young friends looked at him awfully confused. What's with the perplexion? Don't you understand? Uncle Glorb, no offense, but it seems like a stretch to me, that's all. A stretch? Trust me, I have many weaknesses, but my memory isn't one of them. Your father knows about my gift. We were in the cave, yes. The sensation was outer-worldly, and your dad quoted this exact verse to me. Therefore, I reckon he's communicating to me that the next step of your journey is to go to Verithia. I'm not exactly sure how I reached this conclusion, and I know it sounds crazy. I can't really explain why, but my gut and my memory tell me this makes sense. It feels right. Jreff took Fron aside and asked him, does any of this make any sense to you? I ain't too sure about what he's saying. Maybe my aunt accidentally slipped some queer type of mushroom in his soup or something. Jreff, for how I see it, your uncle's conclusion may be correct. But even if you were wrong, your dad still bid us to follow his guidance. Second, going back home now would not please your dad. Third, I'd honestly love to see the capital. Well, fine then. But if we go to the cave, it's nothing special. Don't say I told you so. Great, then it's settled. They went back to Glorb, and he looked up with a raised eyebrow. So, what's the verdict? We're going to Verithia. Uncle Glorb stood up energetically to hug Jreff. Joy and enthusiasm filled the uncle's heart. Okay, I get it, said Jreff. Thanks, my dear boys. Thank you for trusting my intuition. I don't know why, but I feel it in my bowels. This is the right thing to do. Jreff, as I and your father went at around your age, now it's your turn to do likewise. Stay for supper, and for the night. At dawn, we'll make sure you leave fully stocked. The sun had moved beyond the tree line, and the rain had ceased. Even the pinnacle of Glorb's stone tower saw the clouds in the firmament's greater light descend below the horizon at a distance. At this time, supper was finally ready, and so Fron and his friend left the guest bedroom to head downstairs towards the dining hall. A long wooden table stood with food on it and chairs about it. Glorb's family sat down to dine. Glorb sat at the head of the table, while Jreff and Fron sat next to him. My dear family, we are here with our relative, Jreff from Lake Greff's Kentfry, who most of you remember, and his travel companion, Fron from the mines of Fracto. As you know, given the unusual circumstances, like the murder of the local elder of our church, today our servants will test the food to verify it hasn't been poisoned. A silent and confused murmur followed these concerning words, but nobody dared object. May the Lord bless this meal, for which we are thankful, and may the servants step forward, please. One by one, a team of 3 ate a small bite of each course. Those few minutes felt excruciatingly long to Fron, and especially to Jreff, who was salivating. After a successful test, Uncle Glorb finally announced, Very well then, we may commence. With little regard for manners, Jreff practically inhaled his food, complimenting his Aunt May J's cooking. Wow, this is so good, Auntie, he said with a fully stuffed mouth. Could I have some more, Uncle? Dig in, boy. You'll need the nourishment for the rest of your travels. Fron, how are you enjoying your meal? Oh, it's all very good, sir. Thank you for all your hospitality. I was wondering, sir, what can you tell us about the Sintjays? Very well, Fron. Good question. Here's what I know about this despicable kind. 'Tis a parasitical group of mysterious origins. They are believed to come from another world. They camouflage. All the people of Verithia have a unique hair color and eyes, as you probably know. But these antagonists are completely bald and hairless. Thus they wear wigs to fit in. A few of the more awakened bears can sniff them out quickly, but the general population cannot, unfortunately. These alien monsters also appear mirror-like to those who are unawakened or spiritually, mentally, and physically weaker, assuming similar phenotypical traits, above all in the eyes. But their aura is sneaky and inauthentic. Only the healthiest, most virtuous, and most logical are able to spot the deception. Meiji took a closer look at Fron and asked him, Fron, is this your first time out of the caves? Yes, ma'am. It's just... Oh, never mind. Glorb raised his usual bushy ginger eyebrow and pushed her to continue. Come on, honey. Ask on. Well, it's just that you look so familiar, that's all. Glorb tagged along. Oh, yes, indeed. I also thought so. Deja vu, but it doesn't matter now, does it? as we wouldn't want to embarrass our polite guests, alright? Besides having abundant wealth, Glorb had a big family, lots of children. He started tasking them for the day to come. Sons and daughters, as you see, Fron and Jreff are on a mission. Before tomorrow morning, at dawn, I want you boys to plan a safe route on the road, accompanying them from here, all the way to the nearest port on the Sea of Albongo, so that they may reach the land of Cropsums, and ultimately Verithia. Provide soldiers and servants for them, along with armor, weapons, and supplies. You women, prepare some food, clothes, and herbs for them. And as always, keep your eyes peeled for those parasitic infiltrators. Aye, be sober and be vigilant. In unison, the family answered, "Yes, sir." Jreff was so busy eating, he missed half the conversation. He commented, "Unc, y'all seem a bit paranoid, to be for real. Ain't you got a bunch of top-quality warriors at your disposal? Why worry so much about a few creepy clowns with wigs?" Glorb breathed deeply to say, "Jreff, I admire your bravery, truly, but your judgment leaves much to be desired. We all face a real peril. Has the Gromer Attack taught you nothing? What about the encounter with the merchant? How about Dullbock's fall? Can't you feel that times are rapidly changing? The reptiles are increasing in number and getting more and more aggressive, while dear friends are found murdered. Either you're a coincidence theorist, or you realize we worry not in vain. You best do so as well." Jreff was mortified after that public rebuke and reframing. He held his tongue and nodded towards his uncle out of respect and humility. After dinner, Fron and Jreff went to their bedroom. The stony chamber was square, and it had tall walls and 2 beds on each side. A dim orange light lit up the room, revealing remarkable attention to detail. Every stone and piece of wood was beautifully carved and decorated with purpose and stories. Fron sat by an open window, looking up at the firmament, a marvelous starry dome that Fregos in the caves did not see often at all. Fron admired the stars as they twinkled and changed colors. While looking outside at the sky above with gleaming eyes, Fron said, "Wow, I wish my parents could see this. I can even see the moon rising in the distance. Hey JR, how far do you think it is?" "I don't know. I reckon it's about 3,000 miles away." "What about the sun?" "I reckon the same distance. Also the same size." "Are you sure about that? I've heard some wild theories in the caves that we live on a shooting rock of some sort. Maybe they're right." Jreff yawned loudly and asked, "This is just a bunch of pseudoscience. You feel like we're moving?" "No," replied Fron. "Well, there you have it." Jreff, unlike his usual energetic self, remained quiet. He was lying in bed, holding Fron's book. Fron turned around and asked, "You alright, Jay? Today was a bit intense." "Oh, don't worry, man. I'm just a little tired, that's all. My uncle sort of spooked me today, though. You know? I mean, he really... Well, never mind. Yeah, I get what you mean." Jreff told him, "Fron, we probably ought to get some rest soon." Fron answered, "Yeah, you're right. But I'm too excited to sleep now. Oh, by the way, are you enjoying my book?" Jreff yawned and said, "It's awesome, brother. I never been stuck in no cave. Well, actually, only once. But I can tell you, I ain't never seen many of these Verithia landmarks either. You and I got some exploring to do." "Yeah, I can't wait to see Verithia. Then I thought we could also go to the land of Gabbins. I heard their food's delicious. Altox are super smart, and actually they happen to be the best astronomers. They could definitely answer my questions about cosmology. Plus, maybe you could even visit the Nerdums and Revs while we're at it. And now that I think about it..." Jreff suddenly interrupted Fron's monologue with a loud snore. His friend was fast asleep. Fron turned his head and slowly stood up. He put a blanket over Jreff and gently picked up his grandpa's old book. He lied down and started reading a few pages. As he did so, he recognized some of the places that were depicted and described in it. The forest under Fractal, Lake Greff, the eerie trail between Dullbock and Lake Albongo, and so on. After a feeling of satisfaction, he turned the candlelight off and fell sound asleep. The next morning, Fron woke up to a dark, thundering storm. He had barely slept. He sat by the window, reading his grandpa's old book. Fron was focused on his reading material, but then he noticed Jreff waking up. "Morning, JR. "Hey, bro. Yo, that's one hell of a storm out there." "Yup, it's been going on for a while. We should probably get ready to go." "I surmise you're right, Fron. Man, I sure hope it don't rain too much. The area could flood." Thunder. Fron leaped off his chair and said, "Did you hear that?" "Yeah, hold up, let me get dressed proper." Fron and Jreff headed down the stairs. Among the servants, the guards, and his sons, Uncle Glorb stood stern. "Good morning, lads, though it is raining. Here, come along. We have no time to waste." "Jreff, grab this. It's a family heirloom. When unsheathed, this sword glows in the dark. Take it. Fron, for you. We have a couple ancient relics. The first object is a simple telescope. The second is a compass, but not just any compass. Here, take a look. It's able to calculate exactly where you are on the small map of Verithia inside it." A team of 4 guards escorted the 2 young Fregos outside. Their names in order of importance were Aphid, Frogmo, Jorgen, and Forgel. 2 of Glorb's sons also came out with them, Glork and Gonzo. Additionally, 2 servants came, Giffer and Fleb, entrusted with raiment, food, and money. All put on hooded trench coats for the storm. 3 caravans were waiting outside for them. The guards and the servants sat in the first and third, while the others went on in the middle one. Each was pulled by 2 horses, including Maga. Glorb said, "Sorry, Jreff, no breakfast today. There's no time to waste. You'll eat on the road." Then the bridge was placed over the moat, and the team went on its way. As he sat in there thinking, Fron shivered. "It's cold. I'm not used to this weather." Jreff replied, "Yeah, I get you, man. It don't really rain in caves, huh?" Suddenly, they heard a sound coming from outside. A white bird was pecking the glass, struggling to fly in the relentless storm. Immediately, Fron opened the small window hatch to let the little creature fly in. Jreff exclaimed, "A dove! My dad told me there used to be many around here once. I never seen one this close. Now it's full of crows. Here, let me get some bread." Fron said, "It's beautiful. Could I feed it?" "Yeah, of course, buddy. Give him some crumbs." Fron held a few pieces of bread on the palm of his hand. The dove slowly approached him to eat the food. Fron looked down and told him, "Hey, little guy, what shall we call you?" "Let me think. Struck?" The dove stopped eating for a moment. Jreff decided to weigh in. "Pronko!" Again, the dove paused. Finally, Fron came up with another name. "How about Soothe?" The dove nodded and flapped its wings with joy. Jreff chuckled. "Well, there you have it." Fron said, "Soothe, our new travel companion." After the treat and shelter received, the bird quickly grew an affinity for the 2, but especially for Fron. In the corner, however, one of Glorb's older sons, Glork, sat quietly with a hood over his head. Jreff turned towards him and asked, "So, Cousin Glork, what's the haps around here?" Took his time and said, "Scary times, JR. I'm not sure you realize entirely. If not, you will. I overheard your conversation with my father yesterday about the..." Glork paused a second to look around, and he whispered, "About the book." Fron inquired, "What do you mean?" "Fellows, I'm happy to help you and all, but honestly, this whole plan of yours seems so far-fetched. I don't think my father's thinking clearly. You 2 going out there without a strategy, it makes no sense. All this because of some cryptic burst in a hunch? A mere memory? No. I'm sorry, guys. I can't see it." Jreff looked confused. "I doubt your pops would send us on a suicide mission for no reason. But when you put it that way, this quest ain't too sensical." Again, Fron stepped up to speak. "Friends, have some faith. As long as we keep the Lord in our minds and hearts, it'll work out for good. Exactly like the verse says." Glork scoffed at his optimism and sarcastically added, "Yeah, sure. Go out there and explore. Without a plan and without any idea of what to do. Sounds great." Fron said, "But we have a destination, and that's what counts the most. We also have the book, plenty of advice, fellowship, and friends, like this little fellow over here." Glork grunted. "What you have, nay, what we have, is foes. Even those who you trust the most can end up stabbing you in the back. For all we know, this fowl could be a spy. There's been talk of a strange type of people, the Enchos. They perform witchcraft, and they're able to control the minds of animals." Glork looked at the bird ominously, who in turn cowered behind Fron, away from his glance. Jreff told his cousin, "Cuz, you're scaring the poor bird. No offense, but come on. You're being a real buzzkill. What I know for certain is that we'd all be better off at home, to defend our families. At this rate, It'll be really easy for enemies to subvert our houses, one by one. Glork turned around towards Fron. And you? Who are you really? Just popping out of nowhere, defending this strange little creature that just so happened to come here. How come you're so stinking pale? And why is it that you always wear that funny hat? Mind if I touch your hair? Fron from the mines? As he stretched forth his hand, Jreff angrily told him, "Hey, back off, man! Get your filthy claws off him!" Glork did so and coldly responded, Alright, sheesh. It was just a precaution, that's all." Then he stood up to open the window. Fron asked, "What are you doing?" "I'm getting rid of this beast." "But it's raging out there, he'll die." "I could kill it here if you want." At that moment, Fron snapped and started pushing Glork. A fight erupted between the two young men. Arms started flying, but the brawl was swiftly interrupted by a loud clank and a sudden full stop. Glork's brother outside, Gonzo, who was driving, shouted, "Wheels broken!" The two brawlers composed themselves, and their anger had instantly turned into worry. The three caravans stopped on the road in the thick rain. The men stepped out to see the issue. "What's the problem?" asked one of the men. "The posterior left wheel cracked," said another. "Damned rocks. Just our luck. We're gonna have to replace it ASAP." Fron and Glorb gave each other a look, knowing full well that they themselves could have been partially responsible. The men were in the dark rain, while a couple of them, Forgel and Jorgen, were trying to fix the mess. Jreff stood next to Fron, who was sitting with a sulk and a black eye. He told Fron, "Hey buddy, don't let my cousin get to you. He can be a real piece of work, you know, but deep down he's just looking out for his own. I just wish I hadn't lost my temper, that's all." "Fair enough. Man, it's kinda dark here." Jreff pulled his sword out. "Ain't that something?" Fron lifted up his gaze. "Jay, is something moving out there?" Unawares, out of the tall grass on the side of the road, a strange little fuchsia-skinned creature appeared, having multiple yellow eyes and purple hair. Then another one popped out, and another. "Alright, crew, we managed to fix the tire," said Forgel, and immediately one of the bright pink creatures violently leaped on his face. "Nabblers!" shouted the man next to him. The whole team started fighting off a swarm of pesky Nabblers, but unsuccessfully, since the rain made the many creatures and the terrain extra slippery. "Retreat to the vans! Retreat!" shouted one of the guards. "We gotta go! Head to Slowfree!" So all of them rushed inside, shooting arrows at any monsters that attempted to break in or harm the horses. The Nabblers kept chasing the company down the road, but they gave up once their casualties increased. Fron and the others reached the entrance of the gated village of Slowfree. A doorman asked with a harsh accent, "Who are ye? What business do you have here that brings the likes of yous around these parts?" One of the men on the first van, an experienced driver in night, answered, "My name is Aphid, son of Aft. We're of Glorb's house. We come for refuge and rest." The old doorman said, "Glorb, yes, very well. However, we will have to inspect all of your hairs. Odd beings have been lurking in these parts lately." After each refugee's hair was vetted, the three caravans were allowed to pass. After parking, they walked through the village's main street. Amidst gloomy frigos under eerie wet drops, they all walked into an inn called the Green Stop. The men sat down for a meal, next to a fireplace to warm up and dry off. The inn offered accommodations, so the travelers decided whether or not to stay for the night. At the table, the men whispered loudly, arguing about the delay. One of them, Jorgen, said, "We're wasting time here. We could have reached the port by now. We should have reached it much sooner." Fogmo challenged his statement. "Oh yes, how? On foot?" "Our pace was already too intense to start with," said Aphid. "I reckon the wheel broke because of it. Plus, I think you're forgetting that we nearly succumbed to Nabblers. There could be many more out there. We must recover our strength first. The book says, 'He that hasteth with his feet sinneth.'" "We're in danger here," said Lofar. "Let's either go back to Glorb's or get over with this reckless transport mission as quickly as possible." A servant asked, "If you don't mind me inquiring, but what's the rush? From what I recall, Sir Glorb gave us no official deadline." Cousin Glork spoke up. "Every minute counts, dear Giffer. I agree with Jorgen and Lofar. Aphid, we have no time to waste playing games, especially not for some youthful quest." Fron and Jreff held their peace. The second servant, Fleb, said, Master Glork, respectfully, I've known your father for many, many years, decades. He's certainly not a rash man. Respectfully, sir. Glork gave his servant a bombastic side-eye and asked, What are you trying to imply, Fleb? Oh, no, nothing, sir. Right after, the other servant, Geffer, attempted to dissipate the tension with a question, and he nervously asked the guard who first got attacked, So, Forgel, how'd you manage to fend off that little beast? After a long sigh, Forgel said, Sirs, I have an unfortunate announcement to make. Sadly, henceforth, my services will not be available to you anymore. He held back tears in anger. I will be of no use to you. These years with you have been a pleasure, but that bastard creature, it bit me. Most men at the table gasped in fear and shock. Fron circumspectly asked Jreff next to him, What's the matter? His friend explained, When Nabblers bite you, you slowly turn into a zingy. You lose your soul. There ain't no cure. Fron's heart dropped at the sound of those chilling words. In disbelief, his comrades comforted him, knowing that a farewell was inevitable, for those infected by Nabbler bites either got exiled or euthanized by Barretts. Glork yelled, This is absurd! This whole mission's been a disaster, and not just because of some stupid Nabblers. The whole tavern went quiet, and whispers followed the silence. One of the fellows from a table nearby asked, Nabblers? Are you sure, young man? Another person from another spot questioned Glork with fear. My boy, could it be that your eyes deceived you? Lofar looked at Affid and whispered, We cannot stay here. Affid answered, We cannot go. The volume in the dining hall increased significantly. More people started getting nosier and noisier. Did any of you get bit? I overheard them say one did. What's going to happen to him? He's either going to turn or die. The people were getting more and more agitated. Tell us who he is. We must execute the bidden. Find him! From a room in a dark corner, the owner of the place promptly called the company aside, signaling an escape route. As the fuss increased and food started flying around, Glorb's squadron stood up to reach the friendly owner. Come on, up you go. This hidden staircase is for cases such as these. My name is Amphor, son of Phaimon. As you're a part of Glorb's clan, he's a man of good reputation, whom I respect and admire. Hide yourselves here till the morrow, but please, leave quietly at dawn. They followed him up the narrow stairs for a surprisingly long time, until they finally reached a spacious room above, and a tall tower that overlooked the entire village. There are enough beds here for all of you. Don't mind the lightning. I'll come check on all of you in a bit. I'll be taking care of you. Now, rest a little while. The host left, and Glork commented, Great. Now we're even less willing to leave, since we'd appear rude. He added sarcastically. His brother Gonzo said, When exactly are you not rude? We should stay. Precisely, said Fleb, pointing his index finger up. We have many reasons to stay, commented Giffer. Especially the rain, commented Gonzo. Yeah, I changed my mind about what I said earlier, added Jorgen. Jreff noticed that a few members of the squad were missing, so he asked, Say, fellers, where's Captain Aff and them other two soldiers? Everyone in the room looked around, dismayed at how they hadn't realized their absence. They were right behind us, said Lofar, one of the knights. A younger guard, Ralph, commented, Guys, I perceived that Forgel wasn't doing alright. His eyes were fading and his skin was graying. He couldn't even lift his legs up. I think that... Unannounced, the secret door opened. Affid and his right-hand man, Fogmo, walked in, with wet clothes and without Forgel. Everyone stood there quietly, looking down at the floor, except for Fron. Where's Forgel? He asked. Affid didn't even look at Fron, but he answered, It's been taken care of. Jreff patted Fron's back, and Fogmo told him, It's okay, Fron. Forgel was saved by grace, through faith, from the fiery place of torment, created by the designer. He had believed in the record mentioned towards the end of the book. Glork angrily intervened. But why kill him so soon? What about his family? Quiet down, Glork, shouted Affid. He was on the verge of turning. Sooner than anything I've ever seen or heard in my life. He was turning gray. A thunder roared in the sky. It had to be done. Affin began to sing a song for his fallen comrade, and the others followed.
It was fire, oh yes it was fire, oh yes it was fire, oh yes it was, a precious fire, oh yes it was.
The lights went out, and each man slept amidst a boisterous thunderstorm. Before sunrise, the team awoke, and Ford came in the room as everyone got ready to leave. "Hey there, lads. The storm's over. Have some food for y'all. It's on the house." Hafiz shook his hand and thanked him for the hospitality. Right as the sun lifted above the horizon, they mounted their caravans and headed out. The arrangement was the same as when they had first left, except for 2 details. Forgel and the bird were missing. "Hey, Fron, do you know where Soothe's at?" asked Jreff. "I don't know," he answered. "Ha!" said Glork. "See, guys? Told you. That bird was in it just for the food and shelter. Selfish animal." "I thought you accused him of being a spy," said Fron. "Selfish or treacherous, what does it matter? It's all the same anyway." As he finished these words, lo and behold, Soothe was knocking on the window with his beak. "Speak of the," said Jreff. "Well," said Fron, "will you look at that?" He opened the window, and the dove came in, holding something in its mouth. "What's that?" asked Jreff. "It's a piece of paper," replied Fron. Soothe dropped it into Fron's hand. "It's all folded up," he noted. As Fron opened it, a huge map of Verithia unveiled. "No way," said Jreff. "How'd you find this, Soothe?" asked Fron. "He's a thief," accused Glork. "It says, property of Forgel, son of Gorfel," read Fron. "Thief? Cousin, you owe Soothe an apology. And actually, come to think about it, you owe my friend Fron a genuine apology too." "For what?" asked Glork. "For yesterday's altercation, of course." "Ah, fine. Fron, I am sorry for..." "Yes," said Jreff, "for being a jerk." Glork turned his head. "Forgive me, Soothe." "It's alright, Glork," said Fron. "I thank you for apologizing. I'm also sorry for losing my cool." "No, but really," said Glork. "I'm sorry, guys. Had I not provoked you, we wouldn't have fought. Perhaps the wheel wouldn't have broken, and Forgel..." Jreff stepped in. "Cuz, please don't overthink like that. No more blaming yourself. Sometimes my pops tells me and my siblings, 'Remember ye not the former things, neither consider the things of old.' That's just some of his good advice. Here, let me get my flute." Time passed smoothly in the second van this time, with food, games, talking, and songs, but the others mourned. Finally, the company had reached the port of Mangerfall. "Hallelujah, we made it!" shouted Greff. Everybody dismounted to buy tickets for the ferry. Some of the men there complained that Nabblers had stolen their money pouches. Thus, Fron stepped in to help. He opened a bag full of shiny golden coins. The eyes of those around him opened wide. "Fron, you didn't tell me you was rich," said Jreff. "Rich?" answered Fron. "My dad earns as much as any mean Frago." "Hey, boys, maybe one of these days we'll retire and go work in the mines," said Jorgen jokingly. The whole crew laughed for the first time that day. And so at last, the team was ready to traverse the Sea of Albongo, horses and wagons included. The sun was shining above, and the ferry set off from the modest port city. Fron wasn't as nervous as the first time he got on the boat, yet he still decided to wear the life vest Joff gave him. Glork looked at him and said, "Bruh, that looks even goofier than your hat." Gonzo asked, "Fron, why are you wearing that thing? This boat's practically unsinkable." "I still have to learn how to swim," answered Fron. Lofar told him, "Well, it's not like we're gonna throw you overboard." "Not for no good reason," added Jorgen jokingly. A couple hours passed. Jreff and Fron both sat down next to Maga. Soothe was chirping on the vessel, standing on the bulwark, with his head facing the distance. He unexpectedly stopped whistling and took off to fly in the same direction he was looking at. Then Fron stood up and took out a small telescope from a pocket. He pointed it towards his flying pet, who appeared to be signaling black rising clouds ahead, headed straight towards them. "A storm's coming," yelled Fron. A crew member overheard and commented, "I don't mind that, son. Now, I would be worried if we were on some old-fashioned Nerdum sailboat, but this here's a modern Navisco ship you're standing on. So, no need to fret, boy." "Hey, Fron," said Jreff, "let me take a look." Just seeing the storm clouds, Jreff said, "Oh boy, we got to warn Aphid." Soothe flew back briefly, but only to tell his friends goodbye. "Aphid," said Jreff, "there's one heck of a storm brewing out there, and it's coming right for us." "I'll go inform the captain right away," answered Aphid. However, once Aphid stood up, he faced the back of the boat and saw an even more menacing and closer cloudy cataclysm. The others also turned around, and Flip cried out in despair, "There's no way out!" "Aye, the Creator's wrath come upon us," said Giffer. "Everybody start throwing all non-essentials overboard," commanded Aphid. The rain behind finally hit the stern, while the rain in front swiftly closed in on them. Waves and winds raged and rocked the ferry. As the men were struggling to get rid of supplies, the captain of the boat stepped out and told the passengers, "It's no use. Grab hold of anything that can float. Pray, or otherwise, accept your fate and join me in the afterlife." He laughed hysterically with a bottle in his hand. The second storm crashed into the first one, and the boat split in half. Maga was so startled that she jumped off the port in the waters. Jreff didn't hesitate a moment and dove in after his cherished animal companion. "Jreff!" screamed Fron. The latter part of the ship started sinking quickly, in fact, so much so that eventually started pulling the boat down along with it. The floor below his feet began to tilt. Terrified strangers were running frantically in every which way. Fron couldn't see any familiar faces in the rain. Petrified, he started praying to the Almighty to rescue him. Then he heard Glork's voice. "Fron, we gotta jump. If we don't, the sinking ship will swallow us. There's a lifeboat out there in the water." Glork dove in. Suddenly, a robust man grabbed Fron. It was one of the knights, Lofar. "Give me your vest! Give it to me now!" Out of nowhere, Aphid stepped in between the two to defend Fron. "Lofar, come to your senses, soldier!" roared Aphid. The irate man suddenly punched Aphid so hard that he knocked him out cold. "Aphid!" yelled Fron. "Give me your damn jacket!" ordered Lofar. Fron shouted, "Let go of me!" The two wrestled in the rain, and the man had pushed Fron's back against the bulwark of the starboard. Fron kicked him away with both his legs, but in doing so, he lost his balance and slipped backwards. He fell into the water and blacked out from the shock. Crib. It came to pass that Fron opened his eyes on a beach. He heard the sound of calm waves and saw a pair of sunlit legs. Someone was gently poking his head with a stick. Hello there? Are you alive?" Soothe landed on the white sand in front of Fron's face, and when he saw Fron's half-open eyes, he danced by flapping his wings. Fron slowly lifted his head and saw a happy blonde Verith, having big blue eyes and green skin. "Hey there, friend. Thought you might have been dead. I'm Crib." "Hi, I'm Fron. Where am I?" "Hi, Fron. You're in Cribbity, land of the Cropsum." Fron slowly stood up. "Whoa, easy there, buddy. Let me help," said Crib. "Soothe? You made it," rejoiced Fron. "You two know each other?" "Thought so. This little critter came nagging me while I was in the middle of fishing. Nudged me right over here to you. What happened?" "I was on a boat. It sank, and there was a terrible storm." "Your puffy jacket must have kept you afloat. I ought to buy myself one for emergencies. Have you seen any other survivors around?" "Nope. Sorry. Not on these shores. Just you. I'll help you look, though." "Thanks." The three of them went along the coast. "So, Fron, what brings you over here? I mean, besides the shipwreck and currents." "I'll tell you, but on one condition. Let me feel your hair for a moment." Okay. That's a strange request, but I'll allow it. My golden hair is pretty irresistible, if I might say so myself," he smirked. After confirming his new friend was indeed a Verith, he told him, "Sorry about that, Crib. We heard about evil weirdos who are hairless. The Sintjays. They wear wigs. I even saw one myself. Anyway, what was I going to say? Oh, yes. Well, I'm from the caves of the Fractors Mountains. I left my community in search of adventure, and I made many friends in the process, but now I lost them, and I fear they might all be dead." Franz sighed in pain and started weeping. Then Crib said, "Hey, look over there. It's a lifeboat." Soothe landed on its wooden side as the other two ran towards it, but nobody was in it. "Hey, check this out. Footprints," pointed Crib. "My best bet is 2 men and a quadruped were here, and they walked towards the woods." Franz started running after the trail. Soothe followed him. "Hey, hold up!" shouted Crib as he chased them. Fron could see a column of campfire smoke ahead among the trees. He crouched and said, "Shh." After hearing a familiar voice, he jumped out from behind a bush, and Jreff was lying there with his back against a tree, with a wounded leg and his beloved horse next to him. Fron? Soothe? Jreff! Maga! Fron sprinted and hugged his friend. Oh man! For a moment I thought I was hallucinating. You're alive! Praise the Maker. How'd you make it? I was swimming in the waves with Maga. I thought we was goners for sure. But then all of a sudden, a rowboat passed next to us. Glork rescued us. I lost my flute, but I saved the map, your book, and my glow sword. I still have what Uncle Glorb gave me, and the book's intact. But I lost my hat. Oops, about that, I almost forgot. Here you go. No flippin' way. How? 'Twas in the water. I was worried he's sick, man. But I remember what Joff gave you. Thank goodness for that old man, huh? Amen. But where's Glork? Told me he left to look for Gonzo. Don't think he'll be coming back. I stayed here because Maga was exhausted and I got hurt pretty bad. I think something bit me in the sea. That's a bite, all right, shouted Crib. Oh, Jreff, this here's Crib. Pleasure to meet you, Jreff, said Crib. Likewise, answered Jreff. So, what shall we do now? Asked Fron. I could take you back to my place if you want. It's not far from here, suggested Crib. What do you say, Jreff? Sounds great. Jreff sat on Maga's back, and they all headed towards Crib's crib. Crib said, I've never met two Frego miners before. Jreff responded annoyed. Not all Fregos are Frigos. And not all Fregos are miners, added Fron offendedly. Oh, my bad, boys, apologized Crib. Don't worry, common misconception, stated Jreff. A long time ago, Frego the First had a son, and he called his name Frego the Second, or Frego Jr. But then, another baby popped out of the oven. Our ancestor was so astonished, he didn't know what to call him. So he just pronounced Frego a little differently, scratching his head and asking his wife, Frigo? And so a whole separate tribe was born that day. Well then, if I'm not mistaken, he's the only patriarch to have had twins. On the other hand, my forefather, Crobsum, seemed to only beget females. However, legend has it that after a season of fasting and incessant prayer, his wife finally conceived a male heir. And here we are. Crib stood still with his arms open, facing a strange-looking wooden cabin. Here's my crib, guys. Pun intended. What do you think? I built it with my own two hands. It's a cross between a stilt house and a tree house. Typical Crobsum architecture. It looks, interesting, chuckled Fron nervously. Well, don't just stand there, guys. Come on in. Inside, the wooden shack was cozier than the first impression it left. Franz said, This furniture is fascinating, Crib. Jreff said, Yeah, it reminds me a lot of my fam's home. Where's everybody else? Crib looked around confused. What do you mean? Don't you live with your relatives? Oh, no. I'm an orphan. A what? A dolphin? No, an orphan, he repeated slowly. What the heck is that? You a queer or something? Fron intervened. JR, it's someone whose parents are gone, passed away. I'm sorry to hear, Crib. It's no biggie. Hey, you guys want some stew? It's got beef, some carrots, green string beans, a pinch of fennel, and just a touch of salty seawater. Jreff said, Oh, diggity dog, I'm starving. Fron too didn't hold back. Sounds good. Maga was happily eating some long, fat, juicy carrots. Soothe found worms and bugs, enough to satisfy him for days. At sunset, the three Veriths sat on a balcony facing the water below. As they ate, Jreff told Crib, This recipe's amazing, Crib. I myself can't even cook no stinking gator. Franz said, I don't cook much either. How'd you learn all this, Crib? I guess being alone all these years, I kinda just had to, you know? It's a good thing, though. I like it. I almost love cooking and building as much as fishing and waving. Ew, fish, said Fron. Jeff's eyes sparked with curiosity. Waving? What's that? It's our national sport. Basically, you take a board out on the water, then you stand on it and ride the waves. It's really fun. Sheesh, I want to try that. Yeah? We could go to the Leftern Beach tomorrow. It's got some crazy waves. But Jreff, what about your leg? Asked Fron with concern. Plus, we have to go to Verithia. It's just a scratch, Fron. Let me take a closer look, said Crib. Ouch. Luckily, I'm just what you need. Crib opened the chest and came back with a jar full of a mysterious lotion. What in the world is that? Asked Jreff. Crib smiled and replied, This here, my dear Jreff, is garlic gelatin. It sounds gross, smells bad, and stings a little bit. A lot. But it acts fast. Crib applied the medicinal goo on Jeff's wound, and he yelled in pain. Ah! Now quit being such a crybaby. Just let it sit, and by tomorrow, you'll feel brand new. Oh, well, thanks. Ouch, answered Jreff in discomfort. Crib, sighed Fron, about why I'm here, why we came here. We need to reach Verithia. Could you maybe help us with that? Of course. Tomorrow morning, there's a port nearby. I was planning on waving in the big sea anyway. What's in the land of Wilsons for you? We don't really know yet, but we receive guidance by some trusted wiser than us folk. I see. Okay. Sure, I'll help you get there. Thank you, Crib. You're more than welcome. Oh, and by the way, you're free to join us if you like. I mean, on the entire journey. Really? I don't know about that. I don't think I can. But I'll let you know tomorrow. Thanks for the invite. Right now, I need some sleep. Same, yawned Jreff. Roger that, said Fron. The following day, Crib woke them up, filled with enthusiasm. Alrighty, guys, rise and shine. We got some waves to catch. Jreff complained. Oh, just another minute, please. Crib pulled on a rope, and a bucket of water he'd hung above splashed Jreff. Crib! complained Jreff. Sorry, just getting used to the sport. Shock therapy, cold immersion, both essential for waving. Crib, why is a small green animal sleeping on my chest? Asked Fron. Oh, that's my pet, Jipjip. Fastest turtle I've ever seen. He likes to crawl on me too. Means he likes you. Jreff and Fron got up for breakfast and had some eggs that Crib cooked. He sat with them and played some music with a banjo, but didn't eat. Crib, you gonna eat? Nah, it's better to wave on an empty stomach. You guys almost ready? Dude, we literally just woke up, said Fron. Right, sorry. I'm just really excited, that's all. Oh, wait till you see the waves. Pun intended. You're gonna love him. Fron asked, Jreff, how's your leg doing today? It healed. I might have to remember that lotion trick. Many thanks, Crib. I owe you one. My pleasure, bruh. Fron, Jreff, and Crib, plus Jipjip, Soothe, and Maga, naturally, headed out on a swampy stream aboard a wide wooden raft. Finally, they reached the delta on a lengthy white beach, next to a port city. Here it is, Crib Beach. The city of Kolb and the port of Kolb are on our right. Dudes, the waves are perfect. Crib got us board and jumped in the water. Woohoo! Guys, come on! You gotta try this, Jreff said. Aight, I'm coming. Fron sat back and said, It's okay, guys, I'll wait here with Mog and Soothe. Jreff kept falling off his board, but after many countless failed attempts, he managed to stand, or wave, for a few seconds. Yeah! Let's go! Cheered Crib. A few hours later, he and Jreff went back to sit with their friend on the beach to have some lunch. Whew! That was something else. Fron, one day we're gonna teach you how to swim so you can wave with us. Sure, why not? Thanks for the offer, he responded uncertainly. No problemo. Jreff, you almost ready to leave? Already? Fine, guess so. It was a good meeting you, Crib. Thanks for helping us out. The food, the house, and the waving, added Jreff. And the waving, laughed Fron. Crib said, You know, guys, I've decided I'll come with you. Yo, that's fire, shouted Jreff. Awesome, man, said Fron. I felt really glad when you invited me. It's just that I wasn't sure yesterday. But being around you guys, it made me realize how lonely I'd been without my mom and dad. You two and your pets are awesome. The men gathered their belongings and prepared for the trip ahead. After booking spots on the ship, Fron started feeling very anxious. Thoughts and flashbacks of the previous voyage on Albongo attacked him like fiery darts, and when he had to step on the vessel, he couldn't. Jreff reassured him, placing his hands on Fron's shoulders. Fron, don't be afraid. As you tell me, have faith. And as my pop says, remember not the former things, okay? Plus you got Joff's vest on. After those words, Fron took a step forward and got on the vessel. Crib stood there smiling, and he whispered, Iron sharpeneth iron, so a man sharpeneth the countenance of his friend.